and this week we're going to be talking about annuals versus perennials. So to prepare for this little video, I went out into the world and I tried to find some specimens. Some of them are my favorites. I had better luck with others, but I think I have a nice little eclectic collection for you to learn just a little bit about the differences between them and how to take care of them. So first we're going to start with one of New England's favorites. This is called a Gerber Daisy. They are one of the top most requested flowers of any flower shop. They're very popular here. They're popular with sending these as cheer-up flowers or for wedding bouquets. You have to plant these every single year. And Gerber daisies were found in about 1880 by a man named James Richardson, who was operating a gold mine in South Africa. Eventually, these beauties came to America where they flourished in popularity. Their symbolism means cheer, happiness. So they're a really pretty addition to a garden. They come in a multitude of colors, every color except for blue, unless it's dyed. And they have really pretty full foliage, which is a nice filler for the garden as well. Next we have Scabiesa. So Scabiesa is a plant that I like to put in at least 4 of in my garden every year. It is named after the word scabies, which was an itchy wound, and these flowers were believed to be able to heal that. So this is a nice bushy plant. It will grow and grow. It's considered an annual here, but in the rest of the world it can be considered a perennial. Again, we just have too harsh of winters to be able to grow back something delicate like this. The head has a pin cushion like appeal, and these guys originated in Europe and Asia. Another one of my absolute favorite perennials is called Lady's Mantle. Now this plant is going to stay this color. When it matures, it's going to shoot out bright green, very delicate, tiny flowers, and that's going to bloom maybe towards the end of June. Once it gets too hot, it will stop producing the flowers, but you'll still get this beautiful leafy greenness, which again is a beautiful filler. This plant also is associated with the Virgin Mary. It was believed that her cloak had the same edging as the Lady's Mantle, which has a scalloped edging. Next we have lavender. So lavender is considered an herb, and it's going to grow beautiful purple fragrant flowers. It comes in a multitude of different varieties. There is French lavender, which is one of my favorites. There's climbing ivy lavender, which we actually have growing wildly outside the Westwood Public Library. If you ever see it, it's stunning. These guys will come back every year, and they come back stronger, and they're pretty dependable, which makes these guys a staple in a New England garden. Next we have another annual. This is called Nicotinia. So Nicotinia is, yes, it is associated with the tobacco production. You actually grind the leaves, and that's what makes the inside of a cigarette. Although these are great to put in a garden because they're gorgeous. They attract butterflies. They come in shades of red, white, yellow, pinks even. They grow big and bushy, so they fill in lots of little empty areas, and they don't particularly smell like cigarettes. You don't have to worry about that unless you're really going to town and grinding up all the leaves. But again, they're a wonderful addition to the garden. You do have to plant them every year, but I highly recommend them. Next we have a really pretty plant. This is an annual. This is called Lobelia. And Lobelia is best planted when it's right by the edgings. It's not going to get particularly big, but it has the capability to fall over garden beds. If you look over there in my greenhouse, I have a nice big full plant. You'll see them a lot in hanging plants. This color is lavender. It also comes in more of a darker shade of blue almost, and it comes in white. This is my favorite. Again, like I said during week 1, I absolutely love lavender flowers, so I usually load it up with a lot of purples. And this is one that I always put in there. Next we have Blackeyed Susan. So Blackeyed Susans is another New England favorite. It's hardy, it can stand a lot of coldness, and I hate to say this, but again, about a week ago or so, we had snow in May that was terrible, but these guys can withstand it. They come back every year. They're great being planted next to mailboxes, even on the side of houses. And of course, in your garden bed, if you're looking to grow a perennial garden bed, these are great because they're gonna come back bigger and badder every single year. We also have lupine. So lupine is another perennial. And lupine is very beautiful. I love this flower because every spring you see it growing back and it will pop up these shaped leaves. I love it because it's great. I know exactly what it is when it shows its face every year in my garden. So this is a keeper. They come in pinks and whites and all sorts of shades of peaches, pinks. The only thing you want to stay away from is that it is highly poisonous. So if you have little ones going into your garden, putting things into their mouth, you might want to stay away from this one. Although it's something that I love to put into my beds, you might want to consider that if you have a lot of small children or some sort of case where somebody would be putting something in their mouth. It is a showy plant though, and it looks like a tipped upside down grape, a bunch of grapes. So it's going to shoot up this kind of like honeysuckle type of form, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. And again, this plant is going to grow pretty tall. So leave some room when you put it in the garden. This is called Dianthus. So Dianthus is part of the carnation family. In my opinion, it's a lot nicer than a carnation because it's a little bit wildflowery, it's a little bit fancier. It's also cheap, so you can get your hands on this stuff and you don't have to spend a whole lot of money. It's got really nice contrast, nice texture. The leaves are very gentle. And if you have a compacted garden that has a lot of oranges or, you know, harsh colors, these are a nice little additive because it will separate colors and bring them together again. It's a pretty little pink. So I also want to show you a little bit about what's growing down here. These are called Nasturtiums. I always plant these. I get a few packets and I just line my beds, and what they're going to do is they're going to grow up huge and then fold over the bed. They come in bright oranges. They're called jewel tone flowers. They're stunning. Anywhere you plant them, they're gorgeous. So I have a nice little array of flowers here, and I want to talk a little bit about the greenhouses because everybody is so excited about getting into greenhouses now, and I had not so great of an experience last week, so I wanted to give you some tips. Some of my favorite places that I visit, I want to give you a little bit of that knowledge because I think it's really important to know where you're walking into right now, particularly under these circumstances. So Village Greenery in Norwood, they really have their act together. It's nice and safe there. They have a great bunch of different varieties of flowers. Briggs also in North Attleboro, they're really successful at not only producing quality plants and flowers, but they're keeping their customers distance from each other in an appropriate way. One more that I'd like to recommend is Lake Street in Salem, New Hampshire. This is a massive operation. I go there every single year. It's huge. You have the capability of keeping your distance from others, but I guarantee you anything that you could possibly think of, they're going to be growing it. It is a hike, but I think we're all kind of looking forward to some road trips here and there. So it's well worth the ride, and I hope you visit them. So I hope you found some varieties that you might be interested in. Next week is week 6, and we'll kind of be wrapping it up and seeing how the garden has been growing in the last 6 weeks. Hope you have a fabulous week. See you later.